Howdy y'all, my name's Samuel David Duck. I'm an independent candidate for governor in the state of Tennessee for the year 2010. I'd like to take a moment of your time tonight and speak to you about a subject called the International Cooperative of Local Environmental Initiatives, also affectionately known as ICLEI. Now, if you're anything like me, the first time I heard that term, I just kind of rolled my eyes and thought, well, this is yet another green energy initiative, which is true, but it's a little more important than just any other green energy initiative that you've probably heard about. It could be potentially the most significant thing to impact the state of Tennessee during the next governor's term in office. And so if you will bear with me for a couple of moments here, I'd like to explain to you why. First of all, ICLEI goes by a variety of names. Sustainable Development's one of them. The United Nations Biodiversity Treaty is yet another one. That first came to our shore in 1994, and the Senate rejected that treaty. In fact, it's been rejected several times by our Senate, and that's important. The reason why this is such a major issue is that the United Nations is persistent in their pursuit of environmental initiatives, if nothing else. And so they didn't just simply stop with trying to get it approved by the Senate. They started reaching out directly to local states and local governments, cities, counties, and such. And one of those such counties or cities that they've reached out to is the city of Knoxville here in Tennessee. If you take a look at Knoxville's website, they speak of sustainable development. It is one of the campaign issues in the current mayor's race. If you scroll further down the page, the City of Knoxville's website does list ICLEI as a link. If you click the link and go to ICLEI, you will see the buzzwords sustainable development in several places. Furthermore, if you go to the partners section of ICLEI's website, you'll find the City of Knoxville is listed as a partner on ICLEI's website. So this is a partnership on both ends here. So there's not really much denying that this is taking place. Where this gets really significant is if you look at the United Nations organizational chart, you will find that sustainable development is listed on the UN's org chart. So this is a United Nations entity. And I don't think very many people would argue that the United Nations does not qualify as a foreign power. And the reason why that's very significant is Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution strictly prohibits states from entering into agreements with foreign powers. Now, there's a couple of questions you could bring up here. Well, it says states and not cities and counties, but the Constitution recognizes two jurisdictional boundaries: the boundary of the nation itself and the boundary of the states. And the federal government does not have any constitutional jurisdiction within the boundaries of the states. Now, I know it behaves differently, but we're talking Constitution and not how the government actually behaves here. So it doesn't recognize cities and counties. It very clearly would be referring to them as well. It would include them in it. In fact, you can look at Federalist Paper 44, and it says that the purpose of Article 1, Section 10 is so that the nation of the United States would have a uniformity of policy when looking at the outside world. Now, how does this affect the Tennessee governor's race? Well, who is the mayor of Knoxville while during this term? Well, it's our own Republican candidate, Bill Haslam. And so he has entered into an agreement with a foreign power, that's the United Nations, to bring sustainable development to the city of Knoxville. And one of the key issues in this gubernatorial race is state sovereignty. Now, generally we're speaking state sovereignty from the federal government, but this is one layer worse. We're talking about state sovereignty from the United Nations government, and that's arguably even a more significant issue. As many intrusions as the federal government has into the state government and local governments, the last thing we need is just as much influence from the United Nations governments and international governments. So I hope you consider this issue very carefully when you're making your selection for our next governor. Y'all have a good day.